Hello, everybody. This is Omnixius, and I am the writer of the Dragon Knight Prophecy that you can read for free on royalroad.com. And this is going to be kind of me reaching out to ask a question. And that question circles around the character Thayle. In the past 4 or 5 days, maybe as far back as 6, I've been getting private messages and a few public messages from readers who are really upset with Thayle. All the readers keep communicating to me to is, I'm unhappy with the direction you're going with Thayle. You're going with in the story with Thayle. And the problem I have with that is I don't understand what you mean. What direction am I going in with Thayle? What am I doing with Thayle that's bothering you? And it has upset my readers to the extent where they are physically telling me I'm no longer going to read your story because of Thayle. I would really love to know why. Specifically why. What has Thayle done that has upset everybody? Thayle is an integral element to the story, and her involvement with the two characters is... This is very difficult to talk about without a significant level of spoilers. But Thayle needs to be there, and she needs to be involved in the relationship, and she's going to be involved in the relationship, but I don't understand why that's angering people, particularly when people are telling me I specifically started reading your story because I wanted a harem story, a man with multiple women, so I'm moving towards having multiple women, and you're like, but not that one. I don't like how that one is coming about, that's bothering me. And why? I'm stumped. I thought I understood the reason, but the more I read people's messages, I'm not sure that I do understand the reason. I'm not sure that what's going on it should be bothering anybody, but it is. It is. I've of all the messages I've got private and public, I've not gotten as many messages about any one topic as I have this, and this one has, I have 4 or 5 times as many messages from people. Enough that it represents a significant portion of my audience pool, which means I've done something, or I've created a scene or a scenario that people really don't like. And I don't know what it is. I myself can't put my finger on it. Now, I had my suspicions. My initial suspicion, and the one that sticks with me the most, is that people may have seen, they saw this love story and this relationship building between Gersius and Lily that culminates at the end of book 1, which culminates in this rock solid, beautiful relationship, right? But then going into book 2, this relationship seems to be background. And now the characters are on their adventures again, but Lily is spending far more time and affection on Thayle than she is on Gersius. And I think that's bothering people. Maybe they see Thayle as an intruder, as somebody who's becoming a wedge between them, when she was originally the one pushing them together. And, my concern is that maybe people are unhappy that Gersius is not responding to this the way he should be. That Lily is dishonoring Gersius now, and Gersius isn't responding the way he should be. None of that is true, because there's something going on that people don't know yet, because I haven't brought it to the surface in the book. I meant for this whole situation to be evolving, to be making the reader going, why is he not upset? Why I meant for readers to be curiously questioning this point, not angry. So clearly I've overdone this. I've gone too far, and I've made people angry. So what's going to happen now is in case my theory is correct, I'm now going to spoil everything. Okay? So spoilers. Okay, so spoiler number 1, Gersius and Lily both love Thayle. They both love Thayle, and Gersius at one point, remember in the story in book 1, Gersius asked Thayle to run away with him and go east. He was going to give up on his quest, he was going to abandon everything, and he was just going to go east and try to start a new life. He was going to go to his parents' estate, maybe get a little money, buy some land of his own, and start a farm. And he asked Thayle to go with him, and he even pushed that idea as far as to suggest that Thayle would make a good farmer's wife because of her being a priestess of Illustra and she can bless crops, to which Thayle shut him down cold, and told him that he needed to stop thinking about this, take time to clear his head. And she was basically stalling for more time to work on Lily. So that didn't go anywhere. And ultimately, Thayle did all this. I mean, look at all the work Thayle has done for them both. Look at how she cared for him when they arrived back at the temple in Pine Hollow. She helped get him across the wilds to Eastgate. She was the one who suggested they hide at Eastgate. She then shelters him inside one of her her temple's larger, or her order's larger temples, and gets him new armor, new weapons, supplies, and then does all that work. Remember, Lily was going to leave the party at one point. And Thayle's the one who ran after her and brought her back, made Lily confront what she felt for Gersius and acknowledge that she had feelings for him, and then brought her back, and then worked tirelessly to heal those wounds and knit them back together. Thayle is then the one who got Lily to admit and brought to the surface that Lily needed to be bound to him again, and then brought them to the garden and the cliffs to bind each other. Now, she wasn't expecting them to bind each other. She assumed Gersius would just rebind Lily. But, it ended up being even more beautiful than she could have imagined. But Thayle is responsible for all of this. Thayle is an amazing character, and she worked tirelessly to bring their love together. But, in the process, Thayle earned both of our characters' admiration. Gersius is a grateful kind of guy. He's somebody who has an immense amount of gratitude for people who go above and beyond. Gersius has strong feelings for Thayle now. Lily's got strong feelings for Thayle now. Think about from Lily's perspective. Lily's now immensely happy too. Lily knows that she was going to leave. Lily knows that Thayle has been caring for her, but even more so, Lily feels emotions, and she feels things from Gersius that are alien to her. She doesn't know what they are. She's feeling these things inside. She's got all these new ideas going on in her head that she's never had before, and she doesn't know what they are and doesn't know what to do with them. And then here comes Thayle to teach her. Let me teach you what those feelings are. Let me teach you about love. So Lily has an immense amount of gratitude for Thayle as well. Both of our characters, Gersius and Lily, owe their love and their relationship to Thayle. They wouldn't have this at this point. They wouldn't be the way they are at this point. You also have to remember, too, that now that they're doubly bound, now that each one of them is bound to the other, as opposed to just Lily being bound to Gersius, the connection they share across that binding isn't just vague anymore. They can see each other's thoughts. They can read each other's mind. They can communicate telepathically over short distances. They know exactly how the other one feels about Thayle. Gersius is well aware of how Lily feels about her, and Lily is well aware about how Gersius feels about her. Gersius can't look at Thayle, feel that emotion, and Lily not be aware of it. If Lily's standing right by his side, if she's holding his hand, she can even see it, his thoughts in his mind. She knows exactly how he feels. And then, of course, what ends up happening is Lily sees his thoughts, sees how he feels, and then starts to feel the same way for Thayle. So what we need to understand here is all of this open affection Lily is showing to Thayle is being done under Gersius's approval. And in fact, in some cases, his encouragement. Now, there is going to be a point in the future of the story where Gersius is going to sit Lily down and have a serious discussion with her about boundaries and relationships, and he's going to ask her. He's going to say, how many more are there going to be? Because he's trying to set the ground rules of, I can understand Thayle, but I want you to understand that your love isn't, you aren't free to just give your love to anyone else. And, there has to be a limit. And Lily will promise him that Thayle's going to be the only one. She's in love with him, and she's in love with Thayle, and she promises him there will be no more. So there is that moment in the future, but what you need to understand as the reader is Gersius is in love with Thayle, and Gersius is hoping, because Thayle shut him down so coldly, Gersius is hoping that Lily will be able to open Thayle's heart and get her to change her mind, and then he will have both of them. And Lily's hoping Thayle will open her heart and change her mind, because from Lily's perspective, then she will have both of them. So they both want the same thing, so they're working together. Now, Gersius being an honorable man, at the point where this all starts to move, where Thale's barriers and defenses start to break down, he wants to be sure. You know, he's not going to force Thayle into a situation she doesn't really want to be in. And Lily manages to twist Thale's arm in an unusual way, and then that puts a lot of concern on Gersius. And he's not 100% sure that Thayle is committed to this course of action, so he pulls her aside and takes her away from Lily so that he's not being influenced by the bind, and has a very honest discussion with her, at which point he tells her no. He comes to the conclusion that Lily has essentially pressured you into this, into this change of heart, and I'm not accepting it. And he decides that he's made a mistake. He's pushed on her too hard, and he's literally going to call an end to this. But then Thayle's feelings come out. Thayle starts to admit things herself, and it changes the situation. And now that he has an understanding of how she feels, and her fears and her concerns, then he relents. And they share an intimate moment. They share a very in-depth conversation, and then she's brought into the relationship. So I worry that people don't understand why, I built such a strong, powerful, loving relationship in book 1, and now in the opening chapters of book 2, that relationship seems to be garbage. It's not garbage. These two, what's going on that I haven't written about yet is these two are silently talking to one another across the bind about Thayle. So even as they're having, there's a conversation going on between Lily and Thayle, Gersius is 15 feet away, and Lily's like, she said this, what should I say back to her? And Gersius is telling her, they are literally sharing their thoughts back and forth, having a silent conversation, and Gersius is more or less coaching Lily in what to do. And, Lily doesn't need all that much coaching either. Lily's love is very free and flows very easily. She doesn't have the same problems that, like you or I, we grew up in a society, we have restraints. We have societal norms. There are rules to how we're allowed to show our affection and show our love. Lily doesn't understand any of that. Lily has just learned what love is and is now swimming in it. And she doesn't understand, well, why can't I love you both? She hasn't grown up inside a human society. She doesn't have those constraints. So Gersius, I dropped a hint to this when Thayle talks about how she's trying to teach Lily that there are limits, there are constraints. And Gersius says, I've been trying to teach her this for days. I wish you luck in your efforts. And there are a couple more hints where, like, for example, Thayle's telling Lily about how relationships should be exclusive when she's in the temple, and Gersius has just found out that Lily can't have children with him, and Thayle's talking to her, and Thayle admits that she loves Lily to bring Lily out of her depression, and then when Lily's like, well, why haven't you ever told me? Thayle begins to give her the explanation of, limits. There are limits in relationships. Once you enter into a relationship, you're making a contract, essentially. And Thayle explains how Gersius would not be happy if Lily keeps trying to share love with Thayle. And Lily makes the comment, says, I don't think he sees it that way. She's making that comment because she can see into his mind. Now, at this point in the story, I have to admit, Gersius is just kind of standing by the side. He's contemplating all this at this point in the story. He's not coaching Lily yet. He understands what's going on. He understands that Lily has strong emotions for Thayle, and he understands he has strong emotions for Thayle. So at this point in the story, he hasn't chosen to act one way or the other yet. He's stewing on it. He's like, is this the right course of action? Should I be encouraging this? Should I be putting an end to this? He's stumbling. He's in that point in his mind where he's thinking through it. So maybe I needed to put more references to that in the story. Maybe I needed to have a couple of sections where we zoom in on Gersius and we have a couple, like an inner monologue where he's thinking to himself and he's pondering what he's feeling and what's going on. I wanted the whole idea that Lily and Gersius were using the bind to communicate to one another and kind of come to an understanding that they both wanted Thayle and that he was going to let her pursue her because she had already shut him down. I wanted that to kind of come out later as a bit of a surprise to the reader. It's like, oh, that's why they're behaving like that. You know, I'm writing their behavior to be consistent, but I wanted the reader to go, oh, that explains everything. Now I understand when you get to that point. But if readers are going to stop reading to my story and never get to that point, then I need to rewrite earlier chapters to reflect this. I need to put some inner dialogue with Gersius, or actually have Gersius and Lily have an out loud conversation in private where they discuss Thayle. You know, or even maybe they don't have it out loud. Maybe that night that first night in Numidel's temple when they go to sleep, and you know, we can have a scene where Thayle is asleep on the pillows and Lily is laying in Gersius's arms, and they have just a mental conversation about her. And you know, maybe I needed to have that scene in there so people were made aware that there was something more going on here than just Lily being unfaithful and, you know, unloyal and just dishonoring her husband, because that seems to be what people are intimating is going on here. And that's what's turning them off. That Thayle has become this tool. Thayle was the tool that put them together, and now she's the tool that's wrecking their marriage. That isn't what's happening at all. And if I need to know if that's what people are reading into this, I need to know what's got people so upset about Thayle, because you know, if that's the case, a quick few references in the story will fix everything. You know, a few references as to what's really going on earlier in the story will just solve the whole problem. Or at least I can hint at it more so that you, the reader, have a reason to keep reading. It's like, oh, well, maybe this is what's going on because he said this here and this here and this here. So one way, I would love to know what's bothering everyone about Thayle. You know, what's bothering everyone about the role she's playing in their relationship right now. And even more so, there's a big reason why Thayle is involved in their relationship. There's a big reason why Gersius and Lily even have a relationship. And book two is going to lay out the road to them discovering this. Okay? The bigger, wider reason. But you're not going to have the full picture until, like, I think it's in book 6, when it finally just all comes out. What's really going on. And you know, then at that point you'll understand that there was no avoiding this. There was no avoiding Thayle, Lily, and Gersius being in a group, being in a relationship. So anyway, I hope this helps some people. And again, please, if you're one of those people who's being bothered by the relationship now, by the way it's evolving with Thayle, I need to know why that's bothering you, so that I can make the necessary references, because there is something so much more going on. And if you're not understanding or knowing what that thing is because I haven't actually told you yet, if that's what's bothering you, then I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to put references into the story far earlier than I did before and just spill it, because I don't want people to abandon my story at this point, particularly if you're abandoning my story over something that's not really happening, you know. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you can answer my questions, and I'll catch you in the